Hello everyone. Today I have with me Dr. Swachitha. Dr. Swachitha did her MBBS from JIPMER, and she secured an amazing rank of 112 in this May INI-CET. Although she already has given an interview to Rishabh, which I'm really jealous that she first gave an interview to Rishabh. But we wanted this interview to be a bit different. In that interview, she talked about her journey. She talked about her preparation strategy and what she used. We want this interview to be a bit more general in nature, and we wanted this interview to start on something sort of a different note, something which people don't talk about. That is about taking a break, and everyone has their own journey and the importance of mental health. So over to you, Swachita, if you want to whatever you want to elaborate on that, or whatever your thoughts are on that regarding that.
First, I just want to thank you for this opportunity. Like, I really looked up to you during my prep. Like, whenever I was feeling bad, also I'd watch one of your videos, and that really motivated me to get going at it. So I just want to thank you for that first. And coming to my journey, so I belong to a batch of 2016. So during 2020, that was the year of the lockdown. I was at home, didn't have any of my standard books. I bought all of them, but they were at college, and at home I had nothing. And for some reason, I didn't have the motivation to start, watching videos on my own. And I didn't have any books. So, and Zoom classes were not something that I was able to pay attention to. So during your final year, usually you want to finish final year and be very confident with it. But at the end of my final year, I was not able to feel that. Like, I did not feel confident with my final year subjects. Throughout MBBS, prior to that, I was a pretty good student, no gold medals, but I got distinctions. I was always in the top 15. So until that point, I thought I did a pretty decent job in MBBS. But in my final year, everything went down south. So that happened in my final year. And then during internship, what happened was towards the end of internship, I had a lot of hectic postings, and I also got sick quite often during that time. So during that time itself, I decided, you know what, whatever time I have in internship, I am going to spend it doing internship a la kam, and also spending time with my friends, because I don't know where they'll end up, where they'll be. And I just wanted to give them my time at that point. So I was like, I don't want to study right now, and I don't want to put in my effort after internship as well. I want to take some time off. I want to spend time with my family. I want to meet my grandparents. Residency is going to be tough, and I knew that that illusion was shattered long back. So I was like, I really need time to recuperate, to get to that mental state where I can dedicate time for this prep and give it my 100%. And that was not immediately after internship. So I took some time off. It was a bit difficult telling my parents, because they don't belong to a medical background, so they didn't really understand. They were like, you can crack it, you're smart, you can do it. But I couldn't. I knew I couldn't. I really wanted the time. So I gave myself the time for 6 months. I enjoyed, I got into different hobbies. I spent time with my family, something I will never regret in the future. Like this, I'm really proud of my decision to take that break. And once after INICET of that year got over, so INICET happened in November, last year, November. So after that, I gave my 100%. I was studying for 8 hours a day. I was watching videos. I was reading my notes. I was annotating first aid. So I was putting in a lot of effort after that. But for 6 months, I took it chill.
So this was a like I would also, someone who has actually had a sort of a breakdown in my internship. I would say that this is a really nice quote that I like. I don't know how it says that if you're tired, or if you're if you're jacked out or whatever it is, learn to take a break. Taking a break is also an active process. Learn to take a break. Don't give up. When you are tired, learn to take a break but not give up, and that's precisely what you did. You knew that you will do whatever that's required, that 8 hours or 10 hours of efforts later on, but right now you actively took a break. And this is very important. If you're someone who is struggling with internship and is putting yourself on a lot of pressure that I have to crack it this time, it really doesn't matter. These 1 or 2 years in the long run really won't matter. And if you feel that that taking a break would be good for your mental health, then do take that 6 month break like Swachita did. This is and like she said, she had absolutely zero regrets, and no regrets whatsoever. So be rest assured that you also won't have any regrets if you take a a 6 month break, or a longer break, or if that's what is required. to keep you up in the spirits and everything. So don't be scared of that. I understand. We understand obviously that medicos in general are a very hyper competitive breed. Yeah, but as someone who has been through everything, I'll say that the years really don't matter. Like I have people who are doing their DM even at 40 years of age right now. So everyone has their own pace. So just go with it actually. All right. So this is
The
about.
thing is,
Hmm.
people do like you have to put in effort. This exam requires effort, and you should be able to put in that effort. So if you're like struggling really hard and working really hard during these 6 months without like being in it, without being like happy about where you are, you have to be fine at the end of the day. So if you aren't that, then you might burn out in residency as well. Like a lot of people are that, right? Where they immediately after the internship, they work really hard, crack a seat, and then in residency, they realize, wait, I am not happy. This isn't easy. And a lot of them leave their seats also. And that's not a position you want to be in. So give yourself the time if possible. Take time, study well, get into a residency that you like, and enjoy the process. That is important.
Obviously, this does not mean that everybody needs to do it. If you're someone who enjoyed the internship or you were for thorough with your MBBS, you feel that you can get it in the first go itself and you'll be happy, then do that, obviously. But if you obviously every person will have their own, you yourself know your own limitations and your strengths. If you feel that if this is something which is required, then there is no shame in it and there will be no regrets in it, like in Swachita's case. All right. So the second question to you is that so people have talked like you said in one of your threads and everything that like the resources are like literally out there. I myself have made maybe over 200 videos related to PhD prep probably. Rishabh has made over 50. An occasional video here and there, but they were also Mohsin also makes and everything. So, but I think a lot of videos are made from very specific. Like there are 5 or 10 minutes videos, obviously. So they're made from a very specific time point, 3 month strategy or a 6 month how do you want to prepare or something. And people sometimes can get lost in this sea of strategy videos also, if I might say. So what is your advice and what is like how do you want to say that what should a person do at what given point of time and what is required at what given point of time?
Yeah, so I think this exam requires a lot of strategy. And if you're strategizing well from the start, you are at a benefit like towards the end. So as you and Rishabh said, and everyone has said in a lot of videos now, your 15 days, your last 15 days into your 10 days matter the most. So you want to be able to like concise your information. You give your first read a lot of time, but in the last 15 days, you want to have the most highly tested material all in one place, which is easy for you to revise. It shouldn't be stressful because your last 10 days, depending upon what kind of individual you are, you can be like, you can be get overwhelmed, you can be anxious, maybe you can't put in like 100% effort, you won't be able to study for like 10 hours in the last 10 days. A lot of people aren't able to do that. So if you could make something which is easy for you, which you are comfortable with, like even when you're anxious, you'll be able to touch. So if you could make that early on, like as early as possible, like during your first reading and second reading, make that resource, then you're set. Like then the journey becomes a lot easier. So that is one thing. And I think like it just matters. Like it's always good to start early if possible, but that's up to you. And third year is a good time to start PG prep. You really don't need to go before that first and second year. It's not necessary. I know now the strategy has changed. A lot of people are advertising it for first year as well. But if you're using it,
I'm so sorry I'm breaking you. Like
no problem.
personally feel that if somebody started like telling people to start from first year, that's a wrong strategy. The very thing that you did talk about. Imagine yourself that you have just cleared your 11th and 12th, and you just cleared a really competitive exam, and then you're again putting yourself into the shoes of
Yeah,
in another competitive exam. You might think that you're starting early, and that's a good thing. No, you're not. I can actually literally give it to you in writing that no human is capable of always being in a hyper competitive space. You can at max be in that hyper competitive space for 6 months to 12 months, maybe 15 or 18 months on the higher side, but you can't be in that state for 4 years or 5.5 years. So if somebody is advising you that you need to start a PG preparation for, and I know a lot of YouTubers do that, I personally feel that it's a wrong advice. If you start in your first and second year, by the time the actual exam comes in the fourth year, you will be burnt out, like totally
yeah,
burnt out.
I agree. But yeah, so don't start in your first year. If at all, okay, watch videos here and there, but then use that as a supplemental thing to your standard book. Don't replace your standard book in your first and second year. those are the 2 years you will actually read your channel book properly. Like after that, plus minus in your final year, because they're very vast. When you're first and second year, which are wonderful books. Robbins is a great book. So please don't like leave that opportunity. Like don't please utilize that opportunity to do that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the same.
So
Excellent advice. First and second year should be for standard books. Third year is ideally the best time when you can start preparing. An internship, if you have the bandwidth, go for the final push. If you don't, then maybe you can take a 6 month break and then go for the final 6 month or a 9 month push. All right. And I asked this question for everyone. I can see your first aid there as well. How did you use first aid?
So first aid, what I did is first I went through the entire book. Like I didn't skim through it. I just went through headings to see like, oh, okay, so this is something that has been highlighted in first aid. So I went through the entire book, and after that I just like put flags like, okay, so this is like diencephalon. This is these are all the enzymes. This is the vitamins. This is cystic fibrosis. Like everything I just marked. So I have an idea of what to refer to. Like when you're using your main resource, you want to go back to first aid, you want to go to that page. It takes 1 minute. It takes 1 minute to read that page from first aid. But like a lot of people won't put in that effort to go through first aid after reading their main stuff. But if you like first flag off all the important pages and then go through it immediately after you watch your main video or you read your main resource, it becomes a lot easier. So that is one thing that how you can use first aid. Again, what's important, the system wise, it's system wise, right? In first aid, all the pharmacology is covered in one page, all pathology of that system is covered in one page. So revision becomes very easy later on if you use first aid during your initial case.
Basically, and that's how I would advise everyone to use it. Like, whatever resource you're using during the first read, read through that, immediately see what's given in first aid, and so that the second and the third revision are through that first aid only. That's there in first aid. If some points are missing, the PYQs which are missing, which I keep on talking about, you can just add them, and then first aid becomes the thing that you keep on revising again and again and again and again. So there's that. How did you? This is about first aid. So we discussed about resources in the final year. Is there any like we went about that Twitter thread. What are the unique resources that you have said that you felt that can be helpful for someone who's having a tough time understanding first aid? Like a lot of people, what they do have this problem is that they will buy first aid and then they will be like, hey, I don't understand it, because it's a very concise and it's a very distilled down version. So what are the things that they can use to make reading first aid a bit easier? Because sometimes it can get although it makes revision easier, the first read of first aid sometimes is tough in my opinion, and I won't deny that. So what you use some resources, I'm absolutely no idea about those resources, but can you elaborate on those which can obviously help other aspirants who are planning to use first aid to make their first read with first aid easier?
So now I think a lot of people do buy first aid, they have it, but they don't know how to get started with first aid. So one thing is, again, going through the entire book and just flagging off the important pages so you can go through it after going through your main resource. Another thing is maybe 1 hour at the end of the day, you could like allot to first aid. And what helps with that is there are two things. One, there's a YouTube channel. I don't know the name exactly right now, but we could put it in the video maybe. Yeah. So one, there's a YouTube channel where he covers each system which is covered in first. He just reads it out, nothing else, no annotation, no nothing. He just reads it out. So like if you could play that video and also read along with him for like maybe 1 hour a day, that way you can complete the entire first aid in like 3 months, not more than that. There's a playlist on Spotify and there's a channel on YouTube, both where they just read out first aid. So if you need that extra push, you get started. Those two could be really helpful.
Definitely. So you basically, if you feel like, oh, reading it is not giving me the feel, like the vibe check, like let's what people call it. Reading it is not giving the vibe check about first aid, and you still want to use it because you have read about it and everything. If you have some another concise resource, I'll say go for that, and if you're comfortable with that, great. But if you don't have one and you want to use it, then these two resources.
You want to use first aid and you need the extra push, this could really be.
These are the things like just put them in the background, read through it, and things will become easier. And yeah, that's about anything else. Parting thoughts, parting words that you want to really tell anyone who's watching this interview.
One is MCQ solving strategy and how to improve GT score. I think these are like very important questions that people keep on asking. So I have some tips regarding that. So one thing is when you're doing a GT, you want to analyze it, right? So when you're analyzing it, you want to know which are the volatile topics I have to read again and again. That is one thing. Then you need to know which are your silly mistakes. And knowing that it's a silly mistake is not enough. Yeah, this is a silly mistake. I could have, like, I know the answer. That isn't enough. You need to know what kind of silly mistake you're making. So the thing is, what I did is I made a note of the type of silly mistakes I did. So one is like whether you're skipping off the last line, except, or double negatives in the last sentence. You note it down. Okay, I have not been considering this properly. Another thing is if there was an image and that image was very easily identifiable, I directly go to the answer instead of reading the question. But the question could be asking something completely different, something associated with the image, but not exactly the image itself. So that is another thing. And another thing, if the answer, I thought what the answer was the first option, I'd immediately mark that instead of like reading the other options. So
That's a
that, like that. So you just like
good
understand the type of
since
mistakes you
university
make.
days, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could understand the type of silly mistakes you're making and note it down, that really helps. So now you'd like remember, oh, okay, I made that mistake before, I won't do it again. So that is a good strategy for MCQs, like to improve, especially if your like GT score is not really good. So that's one thing. Another thing with GTs is a lot of people find it very difficult to get started because it's very anxiety inducing, the entire GT process, getting the scores, some of the questions being too tough, too easy. People who have used that platform as their main source would definitely score better in that GT compared to you if you're using that platform only for GTs. So a lot of factors come into play, and because of that, your GT score may not be up to your mark, and that will like really put you off. So again, so when it comes to GTs like that, to get started, this is a bit controversial, but one of my suggestions would be to like give it like an open book exam, like at least your first 2 times, just to get started. Because like people don't get started and then later they regret for not doing GTs later. So if you could just start, maybe by giving it as an open book test, if it's like too anxiety inducing, like Priya, I can't do all 19 subjects at once. I don't have, like, I haven't read it. I've only read 3 subjects. Give it like an open book exam, like get used to the idea of GDs. And once you've done like 2 or 3, then you can start simulating what an actual exam is like. Sometimes like you can sit in your room alone, don't have any distractions. Sometimes maybe you can like switch off the fan, because that is a problem that happens in certain centers. Like maybe you could like give the GD and then break it up, like maybe take a 15-minute break during the exam. Because what if your computer switches off during the main exam, and that could like make you like really stressed out. But if you practice all these scenarios beforehand, the, the actual exam won't be that stressful. You will go into it thinking like, I've given so many exams, this is nothing, I can give this as well. So
People, I will comment upon this in this way. I'm someone who did not give a lot of GTs, to be honest. I gave like maybe 2 or 3 GTs, to be honest.
yeah,
And my GT scores were not really great, but it never bothered me, to be honest. I think one of the reasons for that is that I use GTs simply for one thing. Like you said, actually, for me, giving those 3 GTs also, I gave once in a month, January, February, March, and maybe I gave one in April. I don't remember exactly, but January, February, March. Those 3 I gave one in GT. For me, the purpose of giving GT was never, oh, where am I standing? Oh, my rank is this. Oh,
yeah.
good rank or not? Because my current rank is this. I completely disregarded that because my thing was very, very clear that if I am able to revise in the last 7 days, I will get a really good rank. That like because that is the way one time you're actually preparing, like putting all 19 subjects together or a major chunk of it you're revising together. So GTs can never actually approximate the actual. I know a lot of platforms keep on saying that they approximate the actual rank, but
It's
there is
not really true.
really don't actually. Okay. Use them just like she said. Actually, this is a perfect thing to use GT, and that's how I use GTs for those 3 GTs that I gave. For me, they were just a way to know, okay, this is how the actual exam will be, where all 200 questions from all 19 subjects will be in front of me. And I have to get, read all the 19, these 200 questions and finish them in 3 hours. Okay. For
And
me,
understand the timing. Like some
and
people go too fast, people go too slow. So
yeah,
basically to adjust your timing become
for
really
me, it
useful.
was just for reducing the anxiety that the actual exam will bring, rather than thinking, oh, how will I review this? Because I personally felt that if I'm giving since I had joined a test and discussion, if I'm
Yeah.
giving a subject-wise test, the review of that subject is being done in those tests and discussions. So for me, GTs were always like, ensuring that exam isn't stressful. I know how to solve those 200 questions and never ever look at the rank. if I actually once put a post on Instagram also telling how horrible my GT ranks used to be actually. In fact, the
I used to get really upset. I used to get like some 10,000 rank once or like 5,000, and I used to like not study for the rest of the day. Don't do that. Like it's not worth it. Like your GT score does not determine where your final rank will be. So don't do that. Don't waste time because of it.
do give GTs because they're obviously helpful in the long run because they do prepare you for the exam. But the rank of GT is absolutely not a criteria. Like she herself said, like, she said her rank was 5,000, 10,000. Her actual rank is 110. So don't ever let that my rank in GT is bad or, it's not up to what I'm expecting to be a determinant that I won't study that day or it demotivates you. Use GTs just to, okay, these are to know, like you said, what kind of silly mistakes that you're doing, like that you're not reading the all four options. This is the worst kind of silly, I'm so sorry, this is the worst kind of silly mistake you can actually do in the actual exam, that you just need
People do it
to
after the exam.
yeah,
That a lot. Okay, like you want to reduce that
yeah,
beforehand.
you will, after the, it's better to do these mistakes in these GTs and know these are the mistakes I can do rather than doing even the actual exam. So to think of GT not as what is the maximum score you can achieve, I'll say think of it what is the minimum you can achieve if you make all the silly mistakes and don't do them in the exam. So like in that way. All right. So thank you, thanks a lot. I think that covers a lot of things. We'll actually put a tweet of Swachitha where she has actually made a PDF and a photos of pretty much from every time period in one small lane, like a really concise source which you can actually see. And I have seen it already, and so like a really wonderful 2-page summary of entire PG prep, I'll say. And you can actually go through it, and I'm pretty sure most of your doubts regarding PG prep, irrespective of whichever stage you are in, will be cleared with the help of those two images. So thanks a lot, Swachitha, for coming here and giving this one. Thank you.
I just want to say that that PDF that I want to put out, it's like a rapid revision of everything that you have said in all your videos, sir. I have looked up to you. I've watched all your videos, and that PDF is basically everything that you've mentioned in one place.
All right, thank you, thanks a lot. But still, congratulations to you. You actually compiled it all together. I made it time wise and that wise. Having said that, but yeah, so thanks for that. I hope people enjoy this video, and I hope that people did get the insights. If they want to take a break, take a break. If they want to start preparation, start it with a cool and calm mind. And the last part of the interview, I'll specifically say the GT part. I think everyone should definitely learn from it that GTs are not for your ranks. You had horrible ranks. They do not really correlate with the exam. They're just for those preparation for the 3 exam and the anxiety part of that exam that they are. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And just go to the pin comment section, and definitely I'll advise everyone go to that PDF. It's a wonderful summary actually. Thank you.
Thank you so much.